to me, to win, you got to lose. To be successful, you got to have something that's not successful. To be happy, you got to have disappointment. So I think all of those things have evolved and happened to make me who I am and understand the benefits and the privileges I have from being who I am. You know, when I left in 93, I left on top in terms of winning. I was coming back in 95, halfway in the season, and still my mentality was about winning. Now granted, physically I wasn't prepared for winning at that time because I had a baseball body, but it took me a while to understand my teammates, understand, you know, their motivations. You had to understand that when I started with the Bulls, you know, it was 5,000 people in the stands. So, you know, it was like playing to an empty arena, you know, and when these guys are coming in, the arena's been sold out for 6 years, you know, so I wanted them to understand, you know, where we transformed from so that you can feel that energy, you can understand what it feels like playing in front of the fans who for years were always believing that we'll wait till next year, we'll wait till next year. Well, we were the team that was on top now. I thought it was very important for them to understand that history and that dynamic about what the Bulls actually experienced and I experienced. So I felt compelled to kind of push them to understand, okay, we're not in the bottom anymore, we're on top. And when you're on top, everybody's coming at you. So you have to be prepared, you gotta be ready to play.
The man we've been talking about both on the pregame show and here at halftime is a man who's become an instant star in the NBA. That's Michael Jordan out of North Carolina. Michael Jordan stepping in with the Chicago Bulls and really turning this team around. He's become an instant star, a fine player. Michael Jordan out of North Carolina, the highlight of tonight's halftime feature.
Douglas possession, nice cross-court feed, Jordan going and throws it up, he puts it in on an amazing move! Defensive effort by Jordan, who has it on the break, driving all the way in. Oh, God! An unbelievable move! He put it in and it goes! This may be like the other night where the last team to have it. Jordan! Oh,
The purpose of improving and the purpose of being a good teammate and the purpose of being a good team is we all have to look in the mirror and understand, okay, what can I do better to make this team better, you know? And we also have to be willing to accept constructive criticism, nothing personally, You know, we hung out, we had fun, you know, we would joke around. But in competition, when you're trying to, you know, exceed and be successful, we have to hold each other accountable. That's what teammates do. And it's nothing really personal about it. I was anxious to understand who my teammates were. And then when I got back, obviously, I had different personalities that I hadn't been with. So I had to understand who these people were so that I could have a relationship. Once we understood how those dynamics would work, the communication aspect was much simpler. You would assume that everybody had the same mentality as I had, and that every day you're the first one in the gym, last one to leave. You know, you live within the moment. You know, you strive for perfection each and every time you step on the basketball court. But unfortunately, everybody don't have that same mentality. And if they did, then it makes my job so much easier. It's like looking at a mirror of 11 or 12 people, you know, and unfortunately, the world is not made that way. You know, as a leader, you sometimes you're not going to be well liked. You're not going to be, you know, but you have to pull them along, you know, because you know you've experienced it, you understood it. The other side of that road is success, and I think that, you know, the gratification would be there once we get over that hill. And I felt that, and I can sense some of that coming from my teammates. But you know, the thing is that for us to be successful, someone had to do that, you know, especially from a leadership world. The task is to do it every single night, you know, that's the thing. And, you know, sometimes you have to push, pull, do whatever you need to get over that hill, you know, and the gratification is always going to be in the work. And once the work is done and you see where the achievement has been met. Now, could I change my personality? I can't, you know, but at least I can have a better understanding for how other people are thinking. But my personality is always going to be dominant no matter what. But at least it was a consideration to understand and appreciate who I'm playing with and what gets them to tick and how do you relate and have a relationship with them. I mean, those are things that I had to make adjustments to. I'm cursed. I'm cursed from a competitive standpoint that, you know, I cannot watch or compete or be a part of things without competition, you know, and that's something that, you know, I live with today, but I would not want to live without, you know, because I think it says so much about me and helped me define who I really want or was or am and attain all the things I really wanted.
What time is it?
Game time! Boom!
Jordan, and the foul. Yes, it started.
Jordan, crossover.
Slam. Excuse me. I'm sorry. What Jordan just did here, he gave him the crossover, then he shook him with the hop step, ride. Ugh. Oh, man, you just got posterized.
The Knicks to the line only 9 times. Jordan over the back of Ewing. It counts. And the foul.
Jordan on the move, the left hand.
Jordan in deep on Elo. Oh, yeah! Oh! We've seen them all, Jimmy. We've seen them all.
You know, anytime you continually repeat things, it's harder from a mentality standpoint to create that hunger, as if you never won or you're just winning for the first time. The first three-peat was a team that was together for a long period of time. Second three-peat was a patchwork. You know, we got players from different places, and I wasn't there most of the time when they got there. You know, the first time I was there, I was the existing parts from the previous year, and then we just kept plugging it in, and everybody, saw the mentality, everybody adjusted to the mentality. Well, the second three-peat was I brought my mentality to a team that was already existing. So now I had to apply that, and it was much more difficult to do that, in the second three-peat than the first. Obviously it worked, but it put a lot of, mental and physically, straining, situations, with teammates, and understanding, the mentality that it took to win. And we got there, and we appreciated. And, the 96 was probably the toughest one, because I was coming from, a defeat in 95 where I played baseball. Everyone thought I was a step slower, so I had to prove myself, and my father, the first time I actually done it without my father. So, all these emotions and all these different things are coming at me. And, to me, that was the most difficult if I had to pick of the six. And then once we were able to understand, okay, this is Michael Jordan, he's going to be aggressive. This is Luke, he's going to be somewhat passive, but you got to pull him along. Steve Kerr, you got to give him courage. Dennis, you got to pull him in every now and then. He's going to be Dennis. Scotty's going to be Scotty. Once we understood how the players were on that team, it clicked. No wonder we won 72 games, the following year. And then, we was able to maintain, what we did pretty much in the second three-peat. But it took a process, so it was much harder. My mentality was to win at all costs, and pull, push, yank, whatever to get everybody on the same page. If I were to change my personality back, to something totally different, I wouldn't be who I would have been. I don't think we would have had the same successes. I think a lot of players probably wouldn't have been the same in terms of their perspective. But the thing is that I think it was needed in some respect, and I think our success illustrates that. Part of my struggles after the game is my competitive drive. I was such a competitive player, and each and every day felt the need to always get ahead of my opponent. Well, when you're out of sports and you're in normal life, you don't shed that armor that you actually have coated yourself with, based on your lifestyle and that work ethic. It's just, you have to find your way around it, and that's frustrating. I think it was genuine time, even though we were competing and we were learning about each other and we were pushing each other, blah, blah, blah. Those are still genuine times, and you don't share those with too many people. I didn't take it negatively. I took it as a badge of honor. I take my job seriously. I take my competitive nature very seriously. It's fun, and you miss that. You miss that celebration of starting a goal at the beginning of the year, and then at the end of the year, the gratification that we went through hell to get here, but we got here. And let's just enjoy it. Let's have fun, and let's do it again in another 3 months. That was the mentality. You missed that in '98.
And now now we are ready for the third pick, and the Chicago Bulls, who have been drafting very high down through the years, and they have the third pick today.
The Chicago Bulls pick Michael Jordan of the University of North Carolina.
All right, Michael Jordan, this is Eddie Doucette in New York. How you feeling?
Just fine. How you doing?
Real good. College Player of the Year amongst so many other honors. Well, Michael, you've got a great opportunity to step in there and win a city that is crying for a winner. That is a fabulous sports town in Chicago. And with a little help from a fellow named Michael Jordan, perhaps you can turn that Bulls thing around. What do you think?
Hopefully, I can go in and contribute and maybe turn it around. I'm looking forward to that.